Sharks 24, Dolphins 12. Misleading scoreline, in my opinion, for a game that got really nervy for the Sharks. It was a Toby Rudolph fingernail that got them home in the end, and a year-best performance from the aforementioned Nicho. And a late try. So, put it this way. A team missing Kofusi, Nikorima, Flegler, Gilbert, Platt, Saifidi, Bostock, and Hammer, and Nichols mostly, nearly beat the Sharks full strength at home. So don't get too excited, Sharkies fans, is the way I would put that. Knights 14, Storm 32. Knights, they lead at halftime via 2 Dom Young tries. And can anyone explain the Dom Young Bermuda Triangle that is he and Newcastle and McDonald Jones Stadium? Because he's now scored 26 tries in 25 games there. And he's come back and played really, really well. One try was spectacular, the chip. And then Eliezer Katoa and Jerome Hughes just put their stamp on the game. 2 tries, Katoa. And this is calling the game with Adam Blair, and that was a treat in itself. But just talking about Katoa and his journey from the Warriors. Yes, he's a star, and then he has a tough season, and then he goes to Melbourne, and the first season's okay. The second season's much better. This third season is just spectacular. He scores a try from a kick. He does it a lot. He was left alone. I don't know how that happened. And then the second try that he scored, he just said, give me the ball, I'll hit it up, and I'm hungrier than those defenders in front of me. And Jerome Hughes, just absolutely superb. 4 try assists. And he's slowly building, and the Storm are slowly building. And they didn't have Munster, and they didn't have Pappenhausen. Dragons 24, Roosters 31 in the car for this one, but point-a-thon at Cogra, early doors and defence, very much optional there. Sammy Walker, that is a crucial point on half-time for 19-18, and that was always the gap then, wasn't it, in the second half? Not the Roosters' best performance. They will get better. Both sides have had the 3 byes, so the run home is absolutely on. What did Coach Robinson think of Sammy Walker's return? Let's have a listen.
Sent for 10, nice field goal, try assist. Missed tackle, schoolyard, kneel down behind him and push him over.
And that was no charge for Sam Walker coming out of the match review committee. He'll get a job here in just running through the stat sheet like that. And well done, Robbo, on that one. Cowboys 8, Bulldogs 12. Hard-fought win, much-needed win. And Matty Burton underscored his value, didn't he, playing in the 6 jersey? Did go to the well again, but it wasn't quite enough. And Viliami Kikau saves the day with a try-saver on Scotty Drinkwater. But no Lockie Galvin. So what do we make of it? Who knows? Who's fit? Never know who's going to play. But what we do have is Mann coming back. There's Crichton coming back. So what impact does that have? Sitili Tupanua, I believe, will be back for the Bulldogs in this game. They're up against the Dragons at a course stadium. So a big one, a big game for them on that one. I would love to know, Bulldogs fans, what do you think? What's your take out of that game on the weekend? The way that Reid Marnie played, the way that Toby Sexton played. People keep saying, oh, Toby Sexton. I've never seen a bloke run into so many dead ends. You can't tell me he's anywhere near as threatening as anyway. I've said it so many times. Warriors 34, the Tigers 14. Bit of park time with Scope and myself and his family for this one. So I was just listening and then got to watch the second half on that one. Tanner Boyd came in and Tane Tuapiki, and this is what we talked about. Everyone's going, oh, the Warriors. Their replacements were good and played really neatly, and Chanel Harris-Tavita and others picked up the slack. So maybe it is a step back, but they are still there or thereabouts, and they just put the chasing teams on notice that they're not going to give it up. And if you have a look at their draw, which is what we did, you go, oh, okay, so they've had the Tigers at home win, Knights away, then they got the Titans at home, Dolphins at home, Bulldogs away, Dragons at home, Titans away, Parramatta at home, Sea Eagles away. That's a pretty soft run for the Warriors if they are good enough. Tigers, yeah, step backwards for them. 14th now. They do have a bye remaining, but that was a disappointment for Benji Marshall and the coaching team there. Eels 10, Panthers 32. A couple of big moments here. Especially when that young replacement player that we talked about, Nathan Cleary in jersey number 19, came on. But the Zach Lomax 2-point field goal attempt a minute and a half before halftime misses, gives them an opportunity. Paul Alamotti, really neat piece of play. And then Garner scores with seconds remaining in the first half. That was painful. That Jason Rolls must have been going, oh, come on, what about that? So the Panthers up to 6th. Well, and everyone wanted to talk about the Dylan Brown issue. Why don't we get Jason Riles to talk about the Dylan Brown issue?
Our future's now, so we want to get on with it. Be dependent on how the game pans out.
Anyone got an issue with any of that? Like, doesn't that make a whole heap of sense, as discussed previously? So, what do we have? Dylan Brown, he played 35 minutes, and Talon De Silva played 51 minutes. Yep, that feels about right. So anyway, and we want to know, Joash Papali, can he be the number 6 at the NRL level? Well, let's find out. Let's find out. I love the way he said he was really receptive to it. Jason Roll said when he had a chat to Dylan Brown, and if he wasn't really receptive to it, it's like, that's fine, but that's what's going to happen. See how receptive you are to that. I know it's a difference, isn't it? I'm all for people tell me what to do. Not great. When they ask, then you're like, oh, yeah, I'm buying much more. So Titans 14, Broncos 26. What a sloppy game in the first half. I think both sides. I think the Titans were at like 53% completion rate. They might have been 58, the Broncos. Then we saw back end of the first half, Gajewski try. And Ben Tolte got himself a try. What a great story that is. Nearly 100 games in the New South Wales Cup and the Queensland Cup, and finally gets an NRL game last week, gets a second one, and then he comes up with a very nice July celebration. Thank you very much. The aftershave goes on, and he's ready for a night out on the coast with Paddy. That's what we reckon. But very, very good. And then second half, the Walsh, Carrigan, Staggs show comes to life. Billy Walter, come on your tip sheet. Billy Walter show and go. He did it from 9 metres out this time around. So they missed that one. I thought Walsh was outstanding. Justin Horro very concerned about the cartwheel into the backflip that he did, given that he hobbled to the line. Well, that's certainly what it looked like. Let's hear from Broncos coach Michael Maguire about his star fullback.
Yeah, I guess one thing that Renee's applying to there, Reece, he loves his footy, and he's striving to continue. Yeah, I think as long as he keeps competing the way he is, the boys love playing with him.
Of course, and he competed superbly. Absolutely superbly. I listened a little bit this morning to Laurie Daley, the return on another radio station. Oh, man, that is painful. That is painful. But Dean Ritchie, writing in today's Daily Telegraph, and obviously we know that Dean and Laurie are great mates. I have to take full responsibility. This is after they were heavily fancied after that first up victory at Suncorp Stadium. Remember, we talked about it, 1 in 9. Queensland were a 1 in 9 chance of winning the series after game 1, and they did it. Obviously, I'm scratching my head asking why. Why did we have a performance like that? It was painful. It was painful. People ringing or texting in saying, why didn't you get this? Why didn't you do this? I'm like, oh. Anyway, that's what happens, right? That's what they say. Welcome to coaching. Welcome to coaching. And buy the ticket, take the ride when it comes to State of Origin coaching. And under a cloak of secrecy, apparently. Anyway, this is Andrew Abdo and Peter V'Landys has got on a plane to the US. Clearly, they didn't text Buzz and tell him that they were doing it. So that's been described as a code of secrecy. Anyway, they're going over there to speak to DAZN, Amazon, Netflix. Please come home and talk to 9 Entertainment and 7 and 10. I'm sure they will. But this is going to be the story, the big story, coming off a phenomenal State of Origin series. Huge for the women as well. NRLW's on at the wrong time. Maestro, I went on Thursday to Campbelltown Sports Stadium and watched an NRLW game live.
Exciting.
Yeah. Not his team. They were coming to get him.
I'm just so heartbroken. Like the West Tigers in the men's game, but the women's team, they flutter to deceive at times.
Well, you have a look at were beaten soundly by the Broncos. Yeah. They kept turning over the ball. The Broncos flogged the Titans in the second round. But I would love to watch that. I was saying on Sunday or maybe Saturday, whatever day it was. No, it was Sunday. There's a young girl from Camden, Maddie Mulhall, and she plays for the St George Illawarra Dragons. Would love to see her play. Can't watch it because it's on at the same time as the Storm and the Knights game. Anyway, something to work on there. They've got to get this big paycheck. I think the NRLW is a big part of it. And, of course, they've got international rights. They've got the Origin footy. I don't know if you were across when you were sipping wine out at Mudgee, but the AFL's decision to put a in-season tournament next year or thereabouts.
Well, hasn't that been taken up by the Victorians? They're really big fans of it, aren't they, Jimmy? They're loving it.
I tell you what, it has got Hutchie's fingerprints all over it.
I tell you what, there's extra content. I don't know if it's providing a lot else.
So here's the other thing, and you've got to be careful around this, I believe, and that is the NBA do it, right? The NBA do it, right? And why? Why did they do it? Because people were losing interest.
Yeah.
Ratings were in decline. Stars weren't playing every game. It's too long a season. Games don't mean that much when teams can make the playoffs without their superstars playing every game. The broadcasters don't like it. It was a competition in decline. The NFL is not doing a midweek Panasonic Cup. Let me assure you of that.
And the ratings, as much as we like to heap it on the AFL at times on this show, they're going all the right direction.
They've been strong this year. There's a lull in the competition. And there's a two-speed competition that they have going too, right? The top 9 and then a big gap.
So you're a fan of this idea?
No.
No, okay.
No, I'm not.
I was reading into your words.
If I was them, I'm going, let's do State of Origin.
Yeah.
Let's bring it back. Oh, no, the clubs like it. Right, great. We'll cut you a smaller check. Mind you, they've got a big check coming for a long, long time with their broadcast deal. 1300 01 1170 0457 736 736. Arvo Jimmy, Blues Radio. Only 12 months to go of New South Wales pain and soul searching, says Andy D from Brisbane. No, by the time it's probably about 10 months in reality. But thank you, Andy D. You've been a constant thorn in our side over the course of the last 6 weeks. Thanks for watching. For more great content, subscribe to SEN League, your home of the greatest game of all.